Good evening, Plant City. We're having a little bit of difficulty. This is Mayor Rick Lott, and we have a few more individuals when we get online. So we're going to delay it about another 5 minutes, and then we should get started shortly. So appreciate your patience. Just hang on, and we'll be starting the meeting momentarily. Thank you so much. Good evening, Plant City. This is Mayor Rick Lott, and we have just a few more of our panelists from our commission that are logging in right now. We have a little bit of technical difficulty, but hopefully we'll be joining and starting the meeting shortly. Thank you for your patience.
Okay, Carrie, I've entered that access code.
Okay, I hear you.
Oh, you can?
Okay, you're online live. All right, I'll talk to you later.
All righty.
Thank you.
Good evening, Plant City. This is Mayor Rick Lott, and on behalf of the City Commission, I'd like to now call this meeting to order. I apologize for the delay. We had a few little technical glitches, but we'll take a quick pause here and we'll get started here. So thank you.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
On March 20th, Governor DeSantis issued Executive Order number 20-69, which allows for virtual meetings. We thank you all for your participation tonight. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Lott,
Here.
Commissioner Dodson,
Here.
Commissioner Sparkman,
Here.
Commissioner Mathis,
Here.
Vice Mayor Kilton.
Here.
They're all present. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. As always, we always start off as a tradition in our city with prayer. And tonight we're very, very pleased and happy to have our good friend, Pastor Michael Fredette from the Liberty Southern Baptist Church lead us in prayer. Then after that, we'll have the flag salute. Pastor, thank you for joining us virtually here this evening and lead prayer.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Let's come together in prayer. Can you all hear me just fine?
We hear you fine, sir.
Okay. We pause and acknowledge your authority, Lord, at this moment in time. And Heavenly Father, your word tells us that when we call upon your name, we shall be rescued. Right now, we are facing an invisible enemy, the presence of which only you can see. We pray for healing of all who have been infected by this terrible virus, COVID-19. We pray for protection for all those who are courageously placing themselves in harm's way to care, treat, transport the sick. Protect all of our caregivers, our nurses, our doctors, those in hospitals, nursing homes, home caregivers. Father, we ask that you protect all those who protect us. First, our first responders, provide for them all the equipment, resources for all of our departments to keep all of our workers safe. Father, for every business and every worker that's been impacted and hurt by COVID-19, allow this to come to an end quickly, getting our workers back to their jobs, reopening in businesses, government buildings, bringing back our schools, opening our parks and our libraries, in all of our government facilities, in commercial businesses, cause a resurgence the likes we have never seen before. Return to us to a more robust and strong economy and community than we've ever experienced. For those before us tonight, in every department head, every government official, every government employee, direct them through these uncertain days ahead, giving them all the godly wisdom to make the hard decisions and the right choices, to keep, protect, and prosper your city. We throw every key to the city before your throne, and we know that it's only through you that we shall experience a victory over this enemy. In the days, in the weeks to come, reopen our city, reopen our parks, clean our air, Lord, and give us the sunshine that you provide. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 Pastor, thank you so much for your prayer tonight and leading us tonight. And we appreciate your attendance and your participation this evening. At this time, our clerk's going to place the flag so lovely on our screen. And at this time, we're going to pledge the flag. So attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, next item.
Recognitions. Presentation of a proclamation recognizing the 65th anniversary of the Plant City Rotary Club.
For this evening, we have the honor of, I believe it's the first time we've presented a proclamation virtually like this. And so this year, the Plant City Rotary is celebrating their 65th anniversary. And Doug Watson's their president, and Doug's listening tonight. And Doug, we just want to, on behalf of the commission, we want you to tell all your membership that we thank you for the service in our community for 65 years. And every single year, your organization and your club steps up and meets the needs of so many in our community. And you know, we hope that the next 65 years are as rewarding as the previous 65 years. And tonight we want to honor your club with the highest honor that we bestow upon a citizen or an organization in our community. And so the proclamation will be read into the record tonight, and it reads as so. Whereas the Rotary International was founded in 1905, and the Plant City Rotary Club became a part of the Rotary International on May 12, 1955. Whereas Rotary International's motto is service above self, and its purpose is to bring together business, professional, and community leaders in order to provide humanitarian service and to advance goodwill and peace around the world. Whereas the Plant City Rotary Club is 93 members strong, and it supports Rotary International's motto by its service both locally and globally. Whereas the Plant City Rotary Club raises over $150,000 annually through its fundraising projects, and most of the proceeds of these projects go back into the community through its own service projects and to support local organizations. And whereas the first major fundraising project for the Plant City Rotary Club was the Rotary Rodeo in 1957, which was replaced with the Wild Game Cookout in 1974. And in 2008, they added the Dancing with the Locals. Whereas the Plant City Rotary Club is committed to helping young people and has sponsored many projects for youth by providing free medical care to children in Panama, Guatemala, and the Philippines, and by awarding annual scholarships to local students, which with an expected $35,000 in scholarships that'll be awarded this year. Whereas the Plant City Rotary Club marks its 65th anniversary on May 12, 2020. Now, therefore, I, Rick Lott, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of Plant City, Florida, do hereby recognize the Plant City Rotary Club, the 65th anniversary, and extend congratulations and commemoration of this milestone and encourage our citizens to actively support the worthwhile efforts of this international service organization. So on behalf of all of us, Rotary Plant City, we thank you so much, and we celebrate your 65th anniversary with you. Madam Clerk, next item.
Public comments.
Okay. Public comments for this meeting were accepted by electronic submission or mail to the city clerk and have been disseminated to the city commission electronically prior to the start of tonight's meeting for review and inclusion in tonight's official record. We want to thank everyone for your participation in the submissions that were sent. We appreciate your effort 100%. Madam Clerk, what's the next order of business?
Consent agenda.
Before we consider the consent agenda, does any member or any commissioner want to have an item removed for further consideration? Seeing none, what's the pleasure of the commission?
Move approval, Commissioner Sparkman.
Okay, do we have a
I will
second?
second that.
Okay, so we have
Commissioner
a motion by Commissioner Sparkman and a second by Commissioner Mathis. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Yes.
Mayor Lott,
Yes.
Commissioner Dodson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sparkman,
Yes.
Commissioner Mathis,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kilton.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, and the consent agenda is approved with a vote of 5-0. And Madam Clerk, next item.
Reports of officers, boards, and committees.
Mr. City Manager.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. It's good to be with you this evening for our virtual meeting. My first item tonight is concerning the McIntosh Preserve. As you know, the McIntosh Preserve project is a complex and multi-year undertaking that will provide numerous benefits to our community. As part of this overall project, We are already moving forward with the design and construction of improved upland trails and other amenities with financial support from state grants. The second major component of developing the McIntosh Preserve involves the creation of 100 plus acres wetland environment that will also allow the city to enhance the management of its vital water resources. These enhancements will come in the form of stormwater management, aquifer replenishment, and improved reclaimed water utilization. Additionally, the vision for this newly created wetland environment includes developing public amenities for residents and visitors to better enjoy the natural environment to be found at this preserve. Those amenities are envisioned to include additional trails, boardwalks, observation towers, bridges, and other access facilities that will turn the McIntosh Preserve into a regional natural attraction. Tonight, staff is bringing forward the next steps in the overall McIntosh plan, and we have 7 action items for commission consideration. These action items include acceptance of grant funding from FDEP, approval of a cooperative funding agreement with SwiftMud, and approval of design and study contracts with 2 vendors that were selected based upon a recently completed RFQ process. 2 other action items under consideration this evening are budget amendments to allocate the grant funds and to allocate payments to the selected vendors. Our Utilities Director, Len Spivey, has a presentation that will review the city's plans for the McIntosh Preserve, discuss our progress to date, and define the vision we have moving forward. Following Mrs. Spivey's presentation, I'm asking that the City Commission approve the 7 action items detailed on tonight's agenda so that we may move forward with the next steps in achieving the overall vision for the McIntosh Preserve. With that, I'll turn it over to Mrs. Spivey for the presentation. Lynn?
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, and City Commissioners, and thank you for your time tonight. As the City Manager said, we'll be talking about McIntosh project tonight, but we'll go over a comprehensive overview of the McIntosh Preserve. First slide, please. So this evening we'll talk a little bit about the integrated water management solutions and what that means, the project objectives and the benefits for the projects that will be moving forward tonight, project phases and timelines for all the phases of the projects, the process to move forward, and then the recommendations we have for the Commission tonight. Next slide. Next slide, please. So we'll start with just a little bit of a timeline and a background. In 1998, the McIntosh parcel was purchased by the Florida Communities Trust and the Hillsborough County ELAB Acquisition Protection Program, and it is owned by the City of Plant City with stipulated uses. From 2004 to present, we've been using approximately 120 acres of the parcel for stormwater treatment through our East Canal system. In 2015, the McIntosh entire parcel, which is about 363 acres, was opened up for a passive recreational park. And that's projects that we're working on right now from our Parks Department to improve the trail system and the picnic amenities out there. Next slide, please. This slide just gives an overview of the location of that 363 acre parcel. To the west is State Road 39, North Alexander Street. To the north is East Knight Griffin Road, and then on the east is the East Side Canal. This is the location of that large parcel, and within it you can see that we have some stormwater treatment on the east side of the parcel. Next slide, please. So this details more of the treatment through that portion of the parcel, about 120 acres or so. You can see that we've got the intake for the treatment system and then the outlet. But moreover, this has been a successful project in that we learned a lot about what we can do on this portion of the parcel, and we hope to expand that. So this information is going to be used to really benefit us in taking this to the next level and using the entire parcel. Next slide, please. So integrated water management solutions, what does that mean when we say that? This is really something that we use to address the entire water cycle. It has multifaceted environmental benefits that come with it. So in this integrated approach, we're going to talk about stormwater treatment, how we're going to help in mitigating localized flooding in that area, how we'll be able to tackle our water supply and our water quality of that supply, and then making this area a beautiful natural habitat park for us to enjoy. Next slide, please. So we'll start with stormwater treatment. This slide shows an expansion of the stormwater cells throughout the parcel. This will help us to do additional stormwater treatment and help reduce the nutrients through that treatment. Both nitrogen and phosphorus will be removed through this type of treatment from going into the Hillsborough River on a yearly basis. Next slide. Along with stormwater treatment, expanding of the cells and regrading of the site will also help us to mitigate localized flooding, to help capture more of the water throughout the parcel. On the left-hand side is our current condition, and the numbers that you see throughout the slide are the topographical elevations. So by taking the area and regrading it and making new cells, we can help to capture more water through that parcel. Next slide, please. When we talk about recharge, we're very fortunate in Florida that we've got a natural filter in our soils. Both the superficial sands and the saturated aquifer are natural sand filters for us. On a normal basis, the stormwater comes into the parcel and it attenuates naturally through the soil, providing treatment. The plant systems that we have in the wetland also take up nutrients. Part of the problem that we have right now is that McIntosh parcel is either very dry or very flooded. What we would like to do is use our highly treated reclaimed water to keep that wetland healthy during periods of dry times. So we would hydrate and keep the wetland species healthy, and we would have an additional treatment again through the sand filtration. So this is one of the ways that we're going to be addressing water supply and water quality. Next slide, please. The other project that we're embarking on is called indirect potable reuse. This is where we take our highly treated reclaimed water, treat it further, and then put it back into the Floridan aquifer, which is our drinking water aquifer. This is a really special project for Plant City in that it'll help us sustain our own water supply. We sit between two regional water suppliers, and we are an independent supply. So this will help us to keep our own supply replenished. Next slide, please. When we treat the water further, we're going to do a 6-month pilot to make sure that we can do that safely and accurately. We'll be testing various types of equipment to make sure that we can do that. This is an example of the types of equipment that are out there. Universal microfiltration is a type of filtration membranes. On the right-hand side, we have ultraviolet advanced oxidation. This is another process that can be used. And on the bottom is a reverse osmosis pilot. Folks might be the most familiar with this one. This is the one that you'll see in home systems a lot. So we'll be testing one of these types of treatment systems to further treat our water before it goes into the drinking water aquifer. Next slide, please. So now we get to the fun part. This is the part that really is the icing on the cake, where we are doing all of these amazing things, environmental benefits, and then also being able to enjoy this naturally beautiful area. This is a project that we're working on currently with our Parks Director, Jack Holland. This is where we're expanding trails for 2 miles. We're adding an observation tower and family-friendly trails. So we've got highlighted some of the beautiful things throughout the parcel, some of our wetland prairies, our beautiful large live oaks, our canopied areas. So it's really going to be a great place for our citizens to go and enjoy. We're very excited about it. Next slide, please. So this slide just depicts, again, the multiple benefits that we hope to achieve through these projects. Water resource benefits by taking about 1.5 million gallons of our reclaimed water and using it beneficially. augmenting our aquifer for our own self-supply, mitigating flooding even further through that parcel by expanding the cells, wetland cells, collaborating with our Parks Department to expand the funding that we're getting for parks, and matching that with legislative appropriations that we have for these water projects. Right now, we have $850,000 secured through the legislative appropriation system, and we're also cost sharing these projects with the Southwest Florida Water Management District through their cooperative funding program. So this integrated approach is some of the many benefits that we'll be achieving through this project. Next slide, please. So we would like to give everybody sort of a highlight of what we're trying to achieve through the McIntosh parcel and some of the very successful projects throughout Florida that we've been able to turn to. Next slide, please. This slide shows the Sweetwater Wetlands Park in Gainesville. This is a beautiful 125-acre man-made enhanced wetland that if anybody's gone to their Facebook page, you can see different species every day, lots of attraction for folks to go out there. Highly successful, award-winning project in Gainesville. Next slide. This is the 4G wetland. This is one of the larger parcels right next to us in Pasco County. Folks, I know in Plant City are probably very familiar with some of the flooding issues in Pasco County. Pasco has been able to change this into these award-winning wetlands that are, again, our wetlands are our natural filters for Florida, award-winning project for Pasco County, and again, they're seeing lots of folks come to this area. Next slide, please. This is a little bit smaller wetland called the Green Cay Wetlands in Palm Beach County. This shows really what we're hoping to see. Folks coming to take photographs of the species out there, the birds, the wildlife, some great wetland natural species and prairies, some elevated walkways. So again, another beautiful example right in Palm Beach County.
Well,
next slide, please. And this is a small man-made wetland, just about 30 acres in the middle of the high density of Wellington. Very successful. Also, these 30 acres does an amazing filter for that area. This is an example of some of the educational boards that talk about the species, the animals, what the wetlands does. This is exactly what we'd like to see out at McIntosh, more updated education boards. Next slide, please. So with that, we're going to talk about the project phases, so I'll spend just a couple of minutes on this slide. This talks about the two tracks that we have for these projects, one track for the wetland expansion and one track for the water quality projects, the water supply projects. The first phase of the project is a project that Plant City did on its own, the feasibility study. That project is complete. The two projects that are highlighted in green are the projects that we are proposing move forward now. They are the 30% design of the expansion of the wetland and the peer review with that. That project is $674,000. This is a project that we're also going to apply the legislative appropriation to in the amount of $350,000. So the remainder of the project is $324,350, which will be co-funded by the Water Management District. Project Phase 2B is the indirect potable project. That's a $600,000 project that's also cost shared with the Water Management District. I want to also highlight that after these phases, the next phase is the final design for the wetland. That's Phase 2B. And then Phase 3 is the construction of the wetland, and that's the big ticket item. Again, these projects are cost funded by the Water Management District, so that cost will be split. The $500,000 appropriation that we have secured is not included in the totals on the table. We will apply that to one of the next phases. And the next slide will talk about how we'll be able to chip away at the cost to Plant City. Next slide, please. So because this project, again, has many multifaceted environmental benefits, we'll be able to seek funding put out by the DEP. The 319 and the TMDL are both grants that deal with stormwater and water quality. And because of the project benefits, we'll be reaching out for those funds. I've put the ranges on each of these. The Florida Legislative Appropriation System, we've been very successful at. We've been also very successful in letting them know that this is a multi-year, multi-phase project, so that we will be seeking future funding. There's money right now from the Department of Economic Opportunity for IRMA, for flood mitigation and hardening projects. So we'll be looking to that project funding. And then again, these projects are co-funded by the Water Management District, Southwest Florida Water Management District, at 50% cost share. So this is one of the ways that we'll be chipping away at the amount that is the city's portion of the project. Next slide, please. And finally, we come to the recommendations. So as the city manager stated, there were several agenda items associated with these McIntosh projects. The first recommendation is to authorize the city manager to execute the contracts with the Southwest Florida Water Management District for the 50% cost share. Those are for the wetland expansion and the indirect potable project, those two agenda items. The next recommendation is to authorize the city manager to execute the contracts for the consultant work orders for the two consultants that were secured through the RFQ process and the selection committee. Those two consultants have addressed the scopes of works for these two projects, and those are agenda items 2130 and 2108. The next recommendation is to authorize the city manager to execute the agreement with the Florida Department of Environmental Protection for the legislative appropriation grant funding for the $350,000, which will be applied to the McIntosh Wetland Expansion 30% design project. The last recommendation is for the budget amendments that Ms. Diane will request. One of them is to create two new CIPs so that we could very accurately track the McIntosh projects, and the other is to fund the CIP from the Water Sewer Fund where the funds lie right now. And those are our recommendations. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Okay, thank you, Director Spivey. Mr. City Manager, would you like to add a little bit of information before we open up for questions?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, I'm very enthusiastic about this project, not only from the sense of the public amenity that it has the potential to create, but also for the benefit that the various water projects can bring to our community when we're talking about flood control and stormwater management, as well as reuse from our better use of our reclaim, and also aquifer recharge. This is a project that will provide water security to this community for many decades to come, and very important in all of those respects. And I think that as complex and as lengthy in time as it may be, it's well worth the investment that it is going to require to get us there.
Okay, thank you, Mr. City Manager. I'll open up the questions. The Commission don't have any questions for Director Spivey or City Manager? Okay. This has been a project that we've been reviewing for some time and just trying to make sure that we got the right project together for this particular tract of land that's been an asset to the city for many, many, many years. And the Commission has had one-on-ones with the City Manager, Ms. Spivey, and staff, and we've been thoroughly presented the plan and so forth. But before I ask for a motion to approve, I spoke with the city attorney earlier today, and he let us know that we can have one motion that can approve all 7 resolutions here. So before we ask for a motion to approve, or we can simply go straight to a motion to approve this project, is there any questions for Director Spivey or the City Manager? If not, please make a motion.
Mr. Mayor?
Commissioner Sparkman.
Yes, sir, Commissioner.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
This is Commissioner Mathis, and I would like to make a second to that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is Vice Mayor Kilton, if I can make a comment.
Please.
Yeah, so I appreciate the excellent work from staff on this, Ms. Spivey, and the summation at the end from our city manager, Bill McDaniel. You know, I recall, I think it was about 3 years ago, the annual breakfast that we have with our Commissioner of Agriculture at the time, Adam Putnam, during the Strawberry Festival. He talked in his speech that year about the importance of really being assertive and aggressive about how we handle our water resources. You know, being thoughtful about that, treating that infrastructure like we would any other infrastructure in Florida as it relates to roads or anything else. And so I'm really pleased that we're being forward looking about this. And I think our city manager really summed it up well in that this project addresses 3 or 4 really significant issues. And it's really an elegant solution to all of that. And to have the partners that we're going to have at SwiftMud and the state level to partner in funding this is excellent as well. So we're not carrying the entire burden, because it will be an asset that'll be important to the entire region. And then I think lastly, the last point that I'd like to make, which I think was very clear in the presentation, but I think is important that we continue to communicate moving forward, is that we're going to have a great amenity in the park. But when people see the price tag, I want to make sure that they understand that the vast majority of that cost is going into the infrastructure and the water management, and a very small percentage and portion of that is for the park itself. So those are my comments, and I'm very, very thrilled about the project.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Any other comments?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes,
Mayor?
sir. Commissioner Dotson, please proceed.
Okay. You know, it's not very often that we have the privilege of being able to work on a project of such significance to our community. And in that regard, I'm thrilled by the fact that we may be able to contribute something that will go long beyond our years of elected office as commissioners, and being trustees on behalf of the community to watch out for our natural assets and provide our resources in a manner that's useful to the community going forward. And I think this assures and preserves water for use for years to come, long after we'll be out of office for the decades ahead. And I think that is a wonderful thing to be a part of. And I'm very enthusiastic about seeing this step by step come together. It is a complex project, but we will be able to complete the project, and the outcomes will be great for the community. And we look forward to seeing those outcomes within the next 5 years.
Thank you. Any other comments? Well, I would like to just add that I think all of us have our checklist of when we look at a project, does it meet certain criteria? And I can tell you, it's really exciting when you have one that meets every single category that you have in your checklist of why would you vote for a project like this. I'm not going to repeat everything I said. I agree with all the comments that were here tonight, but I also like to just say, for me, I think this one just feels right too. This is being a good partner to our earth, our environment as well. It's good for those citizens in our city limits, as well as those outside our city limits, and our regional partners as well. And I just love that we're going to have a project that's going to meet the needs of our citizens for not just this generation, but for many generations to come. So this is just something I really hope our citizens are able to get all the information. They can go onto our city website and really study it, because I would think everyone would get behind this project and just really love it and be proud of their city, that we're doing something of this magnitude for our citizens, our water supply, our wastewater supply, and also our neighbors, because this stretches all the way to the Hillsborough River, which goes into obviously Tampa Bay, that goes into the Gulf. So this affects the quality of life for not just Plant City, but all of our partners around us. So I'm very excited about this. And Madam Clerk, can you please take the roll call?
Mayor Lott,
Yes.
Mr. Dotson,
Yes.
Mr. Sparkman,
Yes.
Mr. Mathis,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kilton.
Yes.
And it's approved with a vote of 5-0. Let's celebrate. Okay, I wish we were all here so we could celebrate together, but this is exciting. Madam Clerk, next item. Excuse me, I'm sorry, Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moving on with my report. The city participates in the Federal Emergency Management Agency's National Flood Insurance Program Community Rating System, or CRS for short. The CRS credits community flood management efforts that go beyond minimum standards, thereby reducing flood insurance premiums for the city's property owners. Each year, prior to May 1st, the city is required to certify that it is continuing to implement flood control activities as credited under the CRS, as well as in its original application to the CRS. To that end, I have executed the annual required certification to the National Flood Insurance Program's Community Rating System. This certification allows our residents and businesses to obtain discounts on flood insurance program premiums. A copy of the certification is included with my report for reference. I would also like to report tonight about some pedestrian safety enhancements that have been made recently here in our city. Our traffic operations team, under the management of Fred Baxter, has coordinated with the Florida Department of Transportation to install pedestrian safety enhancement at busy crossings on Reynolds and Baker Street in downtown. Known as leading pedestrian interval, this safety enhancement gives pedestrians a 3-second head start before vehicular traffic is given a corresponding green light for movement. This head start allows pedestrians to establish their presence in a crosswalk and places them in a location that is more visible to drivers, thereby increasing overall safety in intersections. I'd like to commend Fred Baxter, his team, and the Florida Department of Transportation for this proactive work to enhance pedestrian safety in our downtown. Recently, our utilities department won some awards, and the Earl B. Phelps Award was one that the department won for our water reclamation facility. That facility is the 2020 recipient of a first place Phelps Award in the Advanced Treatment Facility category. The Phelps Award recognizes outstanding water treatment facility performance in maintaining the highest possible levels of pollutant removal. Competition for this award puts Plant City up against the largest and most sophisticated water treatment facilities in the state of Florida. This is a prestigious recognition for Plant City's utilities department and staff. It's also representative of the high degree of skill, professionalism, and dedication that they bring to our city's water treatment operations. I'm also pleased to point out that this is not the first time Plant City has won this award. In fact, this is the 5th time our city has brought home this first place trophy. We have also won over the years 2 second place and 2 third place Phelps Awards. I'd like to congratulate all of our utilities department team members for their contribution to delivering this award-winning wastewater treatment performance for our community. And while I'm talking about awards, we also had an individual recognized. In addition to the Phelps Award for our water reclamation facility, one of our utilities luminaries, Mr. Patrick Murphy, was presented with the William D. Hatfield Award, which recognizes outstanding performance and professionalism by operators of wastewater treatment plants. Patrick Murphy, who serves as our chief plant operator, holds both an A drinking water and an A wastewater license in the state of Florida. He manages the city's 10 million gallon per day water reclamation facility and our 4 drinking water treatment plants. And Mr. Murphy, or just Murph as he is known, is no stranger to recognitions like this. Not only was he instrumental in the city securing the previously mentioned Phelps Award, in past years, Murph has also received such prestigious recognitions as the Dr. A.P. Black Award, the Sam P. Robinson Award, and just last year, he was inducted into the Florida Select Society of sanitary sludge shovelers, a veritable Hall of Fame for treatment plant operators. I'd like to offer congratulations to Patrick Murphy on receiving yet another well-deserved award for his outstanding performance in his role as our chief plant operator. Commissioners, attached to my city manager's report, you will find the quarterly financial report and the quarterly investment report. The quarterly financial report provides an accounting of the city's various revenue and expenditure accounts, fund balances, and other fiscal details. The quarterly investment report provides a summary of the city's various investments and returns from those investments. Together, these reports offer valuable insight into the city's fiscal health and strength. Myself and CFO Diane Reichard can answer any questions that you may have about the reports. Either way, as I say always, I suggest they are very good reading, as they do give a good snapshot into the fiscal health of our city. Also attached to my report, you will find the monthly media insights report. This report details the level of activity and engagement that we are achieving with the community through our various social media outreach efforts in partnership with our vendor, Fried Egg Productions. When you're looking at that report, one strong indicator of our community engagement through this communication strategy is our reach numbers. For April 2020, we had a total reach of 178,650. Which compares to our April 2019 reach of 18,528. The entire report is worth reviewing to see just how much community engagement the city is realizing from our social media communications efforts. This concludes my report for the evening. I stand for any questions the commission may have.
Mr. City Manager, if we can just back up just for 1 second. Based on the McIntosh project, I know this is something that is near and dear to your heart, and I know you have to be just as excited about the fact that tonight we made a decision to move forward into phase 2 of this project. And would you like to share any comments about getting started? Because I know this is something you're very passionate about.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I think the only thing I can say, and I'm sure Director Spivey's still listening, they can't get moving fast enough because, as has been talked about tonight, the value of this project to our community is manyfold, and they're going to be significant. Not only will we create an amenity unlike anything that we have in our city today, but in my mind, what it's going to do for our water security, our water quality, our stormwater management, those benefits are just tremendous. And I think the comment that I believe you made about it's not just about the generation now, this is generations to come. And I'm very excited about the project, and it's probably hard to read that through the virtual medium, but yes, I'm very excited. And I look forward to the day that we actually see the project completed. I will mention to the audience that's listening, in case it's lost in all of the discussion, we are presently embarking on a first phase out there under a separate grant program that will see us build a network of trails in what we consider to be the upland portion, and one observation tower will be a part of that project, along with hopefully some parking improvements and some signage and some other amenities. So in the very near future, we will have an opportunity to see some progress being made in the McIntosh Preserve. But I would point out that that is going to be basically the tip of the iceberg, because what was approved tonight was moving forward on the very large scale project that's going to deliver all the water benefits as well as an amenity unlike anything we've ever seen. So yes, sir, I'm very excited about it.
Okay, thank you, sir. The commission like to have any questions for the city manager or Ms. Reichert? Say none. Thank you very much, Mr. City Manager. City Attorney?
I have no report, Mr. Mayor.
Madam Clerk?
No report.
Commissioner Mathis?
Good evening, everyone. I hope that you all are well and staying safe. Thank you again, Ms. Spivey, for that excellent report. And like you said, Mr. Mayor, we were able to view it earlier. It's going to be a great addition to our community. So thank you to Ms. Spivey and to our city manager. Just want to give a shout out to the Plant City Rotary for 65 years. My husband and I had the opportunity this past October to dance with the locals, and we know those funds are used throughout the community. So thank you for that. Congratulations to our utilities department. And if we were there in the auditorium, you would have your award there, which we've seen many times. So I hope the next time that we're together, that award will be there for us to review. And to Mr. Patrick Murphy, thank you for all that you do, and congratulations to you. And to everyone out there, even though I know it is not a recommendation, I'm just saying it to everyone listening, as you're out and about, please put on your mask. It's for you and for everyone around you. That is my comments, Mr. Mayor. And everyone, please stay safe out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Dodson?
Good evening, everyone. I too also would like to wish my regards to everyone, since we haven't been able to see one another other than in passing maybe from time to time, but miss the gatherings we have at City Hall for our regular meetings. But I'm thankful too that we're able to continue work product that we're charged with doing in a virtual manner, and being effective by doing it and carrying on with projects such as McIntosh Preserve that we've just acted on tonight, along with others that we've heard during the last 2 additional meetings virtually. So I too would like to thank Lynn Spivey and Utilities Department, and Patrick Murphy as the Chief Plant Operator for his award recognition, and for the operations of our utilities systems, which is managed by Lynn Spivey. I have a great deal of regard and respect for Ms. Spivey and the staff that work there. They're obviously very capable, competent people that have a dedicated interest in doing the right things at the right times and making certain that our operations and utilities are fulfilled and top notch. And it's it's recognized when you don't have an issue, and there's nothing as you ever hear about the cause of an issue in the operations of utility, is when you know that you have a well-run department. Because as you recall, it wasn't long in the past couple of years that the city of St. Petersburg had some major problems with water reclamation. We don't have those problems here in Plant City, and it's because of the wonderful staff we've got, and the systems that are in place are up to date. They're running well, and I have high regard, as I said, for them. I'd just like to finalize my comments by saying I think this matter with the McIntosh Preserve is so significant for the years ahead and working on completing the project that we should go about getting on the Speakers Bureau with all of the civic clubs and any other forums that we can be a part of with the Chamber and Main Street and other parties that might like to learn more about what we have put underway. I think they would be very interested in hearing this. I did bring this matter up in a talk that I gave virtually to the Lions Club a few weeks ago, but didn't get into the full depth of the presentation that we had tonight. So they've asked me to come back and give another talk. So I think I'll dedicate that talk to giving more detail with the assistance of Ms. Spivey to the club to update them on what will be coming at the McIntosh Park, and I look forward to it. Well, that's the nature of my comments tonight. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I do want to say one thing. I'm looking at all our photos tonight, and you know what? I mean, does it look like we need a barber right now or a beautician? We're looking pretty good on our photos there, Madam Clerk. I appreciate that. Are those older? Those taken in the last week? Anyhow, thank you, Commissioner Dodson. Commissioner Spartman.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good evening to everyone. I also am very proud of our staff and their accomplishments. Don't want to be repetitious and saying the same stuff over and over again. But in meeting with our staff, the city manager and his staff, in reviewing this McIntosh project, I was reminded, and I'm so excited and great and proud of this situation, and that I was mayor at the time this property came available, and I convinced the county to buy it basically for us. And so it's turning out to be more than I envisioned or anticipated. So I look forward to getting this finalized, and I'm so excited too about us opening up barbershops, beauty salons, techs, and all these different places where the restaurants are opening up. And I visited several restaurants and talked with them, and they're also excited about coming back, and everybody in there has a very great attitude, customers and employees. So I look forward to that continuing. And I believe as our governor and as our president that I am facts oriented and not fear. I'm not fearful of this. I know our Lord shall protect us, and we will prevail. So this too pass, and thank you for allowing me my comments, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Sparkman. And I know that seeing a project that from literally the beginning, as you did when that this was purchased through the ELAP program that you pushed, to now seeing it being developed into this new park, I know there's a lot of pride there. And thanks for always your many years of service to our city. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Again, congratulations to utilities. Obviously, we've seen from the presentation tonight how outstanding they are, and just really appreciative of everybody there. And thank you, Mr. Mayor, for participating in our National Day of Prayer last Thursday. That's an event that we have been able to have at City Hall for many, many years, and I think this was the 25th year in a row, if I'm not mistaken, that we've had the National Day of Prayer through some folks in Plant City putting it together. And of course, it was a little bit different this year with a Zoom call, but it was still able to happen, and grateful that you were able to participate in that. As a Rotarian, very happy for the proclamation today. Very proud of the work that club does. Unfortunately, we weren't able to have our Wild Game Cookout this year, which is one of our two big fundraisers. But like so many in Plant City, it's a club of great stewardship that had a full storehouse and is still able to make significant impacts in Plant City even without having that event. So I'm very proud of the leadership there. And really for all of our service and civic clubs, Rotary is just one of many. And when you add them all up and think about the impact that makes in Plant City, it's pretty astonishing and astounding. So I just want to thank all of our service clubs and civic clubs for the work that they do in Plant City. And lastly, last Wednesday was National Nurses Day, and this week is the National Hospitals Week. So I just wanted to say thank you to Karen Kerr, the president of South Florida Baptist Hospital, to all of our nurses and all of our healthcare professionals in Plant City. We are very fortunate to be part of an outstanding healthcare system in Plant City that would be the envy of many cities much larger than our own. And thankful for Baycare and all the preparedness for what might have been with coronavirus and what they're able to do, just impacting people's lives on a daily basis. So to all the nurses out there, everybody working at the hospital, thank you for all of your hard work and what you've been doing for health and wellness in Plant City. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Vice Mayor, I think you're out of state right now, participating virtually. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. I came up to visit a family member that has a medical issue. So we're social distancing responsibly here in Vermont, where it happens to be snowing as we speak.
Holy cow. That's amazing.
Well, we miss you, and we sure your family have safe travels coming back. I believe you're leaving this afternoon, so we wish you safe travels coming back. And we hope your family member is okay. So
Great.
thank you
sir.
and be safe, okay?
Thank you.
I just want to echo everyone's thoughts here tonight, with congratulations to the individuals receiving awards. And it's just when you have an organization that continues to strive for excellence and receive the awards, I mean, that we're first, or if we're not first, we're second. We're always in that first, second, or third place right there year in year, competing with all major cities. It just tells you that we're striving for excellence in every single category. And I think the citizens deserve that and expect that, and they're getting that. Also, I just want to say that I'm proud of our city and our commission right now, because I'm always proud of it. But for us to take the opportunities to continue to move our city forward and not to kick the can down the road on projects we're discussing this afternoon in our consent agenda, as well as the resolutions that we approved tonight with McIntosh Park and ones that we're considering in our CRA meeting later. It just shows you that we have the perseverance to move our city forward and continue to believe in the future of this great city. And we're a strong city, great city, and we're prepared to move forward in this pandemic and to come out the other end an even stronger city. So just really proud of all of our city, from our city staff, our commission, as well as all the citizens. Like you said, Commissioner Sparkman, I think everyone's believes in our city, and everyone is pushing to get through this as fast as we can and to come out the other end a better, closer, more loving and compassionate city. So I'll close my comments. Madam Clerk, final item on the agenda tonight, the regular meeting agenda.
Other resolutions and ordinances. This is an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Plant City, Florida, granting an exemption from certain ad valorem taxation for Ace Hardware Corporation, a new business, providing a short title, providing for definitions of terms, providing for a finding that all the requirements applicable to the granting of such exemption have been met, providing for the amount of revenue available from the ad valorem tax sources for the current fiscal year, providing for the amount of revenue lost by virtue of the economic development ad valorem tax exemptions currently in effect, providing for an estimated revenue loss attributable to the exemption granted to Ace Hardware Corporation, providing for a period of time for which the exemption will remain in effect and an expiration date of the exemption, providing for requirements associated with granting and continuation of such exemption, providing for applicability, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. I also have a resolution entitled, a resolution setting the public hearing on proposed enactment of an ordinance by the City Commission of the City of Plant City, Florida, in accordance with Section 166.041 Florida statutes and other applicable law. This resolution sets the public hearing on the proposed enactment of said ordinance for the City Commission virtual meeting to be held on May 26, 2020 at 7:30 p.m.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the commission?
This is Commissioner Mathis, and I move to approve to set the public hearing.
I'll second it, Commissioner Dodson.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Mathis, a second by Commissioner Dodson. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Mayor Lott,
Yes.
Commissioner Dodson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sparkman,
Yes.
Commissioner Mathis,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kilton.
Yes.
The resolution is approved with a vote of 5-0. That concludes tonight's commission meeting. We want to thank everyone for participating. Just as we close this meeting, we'll be pausing for about 15 seconds, and then we'll be opening our CRA meeting right after this meeting is ended. Again, thanks for everyone's participation tonight. And please join us and continue to stay on this particular line, and we'll move right into our CRA meeting. This meeting's adjourned.
Mayor, we're ready.
Okay, good evening. I'd like to call this CRA meeting to order. Madam Clerk, first item.
You need to read.
We have the roll call. Would you please call the roll call, please?
Mayor Lott,
Here.
Commissioner Dodson,
Here.
Commissioner Sparkman,
Here.
Commissioner Mathis,
Here.
Vice Mayor Kilton.
Here.
All are present. We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Next item of business. Okay. At this time, we have public comments. Public comments for this meeting were accepted by electronic submission or mail to the city clerk and have been disseminated to the CRA board electronically prior to the start of tonight's meeting for review and inclusion in tonight's meeting's official record. Again, I want to thank everyone for the emails we received. We appreciate it very much. And we have reviewed those before tonight's CRA meeting. Madam Clerk, what's the next order of business, please?
Approval of the February 10th, 2020 CRA minute.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the CRA?
Move to approve, Commissioner Dodson.
Commissioner Sparkman, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please take the roll call.
Mayor Lott,
Yes.
Commissioner Dodson,
Yes.
Mr. Sparkman,
Yes.
Commissioner Mathis,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kilton.
Yes.
Okay, and the minutes approved with a 5-0 vote. Madam Clerk, next item.
Resolution accepting bid of Clock Tower Tax Credits LLC for the sale of Midtown Brownfield area voluntary cleanup credits in the amount of $106,326.08.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager, would you like to expand on this a little bit?
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, this is a item that comes up from the city's basically cleanup efforts in the Midtown Brownfield area, and those efforts allow us to develop credits that can then be brokered to interested parties, and that is what this item relates to. If you have detailed questions, I have available the city attorney and our community services director, Mike Carr, if you would like to delve further into the details. But essentially, this is a benefit to the cleanup activities that we undertake in Midtown in particular.
Okay, does any commissioner have any questions? Seeing none, what's the pleasure of the CRA?
Commissioner Sparkman, approve.
Do we have a motion? Is there a second?
Commissioner Mathis, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please take the roll call vote, please.
Mayor Lott,
Yes.
Commissioner Dodson,
Yes.
Mr. Sparkman,
Yes.
Mr. Mathis,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kilton.
Yes.
Okay, and the resolution is approved with a 5-0 vote. Is there any other business that the CRA would bring before the CRA meeting? Before we end this meeting, I just want to say thanks to our city clerk. She is not feeling well tonight, and earlier we were wondering if she could even make it to tonight's meeting. And if you notice it in her voice, she is powering through. So we appreciate you making tonight's meeting a reality and working through it. So hopefully you get home and rest and feel much better tomorrow. Again, thank you for everyone for participating in tonight's commission meeting and tonight's CRA meeting. This meeting's adjourned. We'll see you next time. Thank you.